students, I always see students having problems in passing pointers or even symbol values or even by reference to add two numbers. So I start with this analogy of adding two numbers, then I go back to adding two objects. Now look at the screen. Let's say you have a function to be written in which you can see in the screen integer a is equal to 10, b is equal to 10, and you want to create a sum. That means you need to write a function which will be looking like sum is equal to add a comma b. This is a function which you have to write. Now what you usually do is you simply write a function integer, that is what it is returning to, is returning the value to integer. Now add, then after that you can simply say integer a comma integer b. These a b integers are different from these a b integers because they are local variables. So here you can always say return a plus b. That is that simple. This almost everybody knows. Now things will get complicated. Suppose somebody has written a function in which he has, let's say, the function looks like integer ampersand b. So in such case also the same method works. You can pass ab, here ampersand a, but he can simply say a plus b, and here also you could have said ampersand a. That also is same actually. No need to worry, simply return a plus b, you can do that. Now this is actually called passing by reference, ampersand a and ampersand b. Now think of a case that somebody has written a function in which here he says this is returning a pointer. So that means it's returning a pointer means you have to return a pointer. How do you write the function then? Suppose integer c is the place where c is equal to a plus b. This is what you got. Now you have to return what? You have to return what? Return the address. So that means you simply say return ampersand of c. So in such case, suppose you have written like this, a function like this, how do you call this here? How do you call this here? That means what you are getting is an address. So if you are getting an address, so then how do you accept it to in the screen you can see it is similar to what is written here from line number 16, 17, something like that. So I've given the name add reference. So how do you call this? See, you can see that how it is called add reference a comma b. That is what you have passed, and you say the c value is star c. Now what is c? C is what? C is a pointer. You have to accept it to a pointer. That means here you have to accept it to a pointer because it's returning a pointer, right? So that is what it is. So you have to say cout the sum is, after that you say star c. That is what you have to say. That is another way of doing. Now let us consider another case in which your function even looks different. Let's say you have here, it says integer ampersand a, sorry, integer star a comma integer star b. Then passing is also pointer, and returning is also a pointer. That means suppose this was your result integer c, then how would you write this function? You will say that c is equal to star a plus star b, right? The content of star a. And after that, what you have to return? The address. Return address of C. That is what you have to do. That means, as you can see in the screen, so you have to now, this is how the function is looking like. Integer star add, your pointers are being passed as returning ampersand C. So now see, how do you call this function 30 to 36? How do you call this? So it is called add 3. You can see that how it is called. You have to call it like this. What you have to do? You have to call it C is equal to add 3, or in this case add, that is, you have to have, see, ampersand a and ampersand b, because you are passing the pointer to here. What is the result returning? Star C. The C is the pointer. Star C. The C is the pointer. So you are pointing to that. So here you can say now C out. Result is star C. That is what you will say. So there are many different ways of passing. Variables in the form of reference, in the form of value, or it could be in the form of in the form of symbol a comma b, which are just integer by value. So the first function was very, very simple, which was looking like that. So also possible. Similarly, now you know that anything in the world is about data types, is all about integer a. That means it is like you are saying student obj. So this is the data type, this is the memory allocation, how many bytes, is the type of the variable. Both are looking same. So they are all anonymous, they are similar looking, and the same analogy you can apply to other things. Like for example, now I go back to an example where let's say I have two objects to be added. Now, as you know, it is a class student. Actually, in the class student, you can have, see that as I said, the private type and the public type. Public is what you can take it to the main. This I have repeated several times. Still, it's like that. Now here, let's say I have integer age, integer income, then integer, let's say, expense. Also three things. And now, as you can see, so they see I have got this class student where I have written three private variables, like you can see on the screen also. After that I have a constructor called student. Actually this is just a constructor, and I have a constructor with argument where you are initializing all three values, f, age, this and that. That means you can from the main you can pass like this: age, income, whatever three things are there, age, income and expense, they can come. Now let's say this is called a constructor with the arguments, you know that. Now I say I am going to create a function called add objects. Add objects is a function which will be looking very similar to what we discussed the add function sometime before. So you should see this now. It is like I say add objects. This is a function I am creating. Here what I have to pass, like integer A, integer B we used to pass. Now in this particular case, now you have to pass two types of students. That means student A, student A, student B, something like that you are passing. This is a function being written, and after that student A and student B, and after that what you are going to do, you are going to create a temporary variable called student, let's say T. After that I will say T dot age is equal to A dot age plus B dot age, simply adding. The same thing we will do for T dot income is equal to A dot income plus B dot income. See that? Now again we will do T dot expense is equal to A dot expense plus B dot expense. See, same thing you will do. Now let's say this I am extending the class further. So what you have to return now? Suppose you are returning as a student. It is like a student or integer. It's like a type, you know. So I have to say return the object itself, T, something like that. So this is how you write a function add objects. Now you can see in the screen in the main, how do you call this? So it is very simple. You know that actually you can call this by, you can see on the screen that student A you have passed, student B you have created, and you can create a student AB. You can simply say AB add objects. That means it will come here and it will pass A and B, two objects, and result will come back in the AB. And after that you say display output. Display output is a function to display all the values. So you can, this is the way you do it. Now the same principle which I applied earlier can be applied here also. Like you remember, actually you used to suppose here it was like you are returning, suppose it was you are returning a student star. That means you are returning a pointer. So that means you would have passed here, address of T, right? The similar way, had I just said here, let's say, so here this is what I was telling you. If it was a pointer, you would have returned ampersand T. Now if it was a reference like this, you would have simply passed T only. This is exactly similar way like I explained you, add two values by reference or whatever way you can pass. So in the integer main, same kind of thing you will be applying. That you have to accept here is like, you can say student C, and C equal to C add objects, A comma B. Suppose there was an A here, student A was like you were passing something like this. The same way, suppose there was another student B also like this, where I was having some values like this. After that you could have simply called, you could have said, you can create a function for C dot display all, like you have written display output. So same thing is you are able to pass values similar way, like integer or character. So you can pass by reference ampersand A ampersand B, or you can star A star B, and you can get it returned in a pointer or other way, similar to the first example I have shown. This explains the different ways of passing arguments. Okay.